Hey, good Friday morning, my friends. MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torgros here with the MLive Morning Weather Update. We're seeing the light snow from overnight wind down in the southeast part of the state. I looked at the cameras around our state. Doesn't look like the roads are terrible. Not perfect, but using some caution, you'll be okay. Now we're going to get the bitterly cold air coming in later today. We still are going to see the temperature go up through the morning hours into early afternoon. A lot of places, at least southern Michigan, then the falling temperatures. Bitterly cold, but I do want to let you know that we have a major weather pattern change underway. You may not believe it, but I see it, and it's continued to progress closer in, and now it's only a matter of by Monday or Tuesday, the whole pattern rearranges. I think I have that lined up. I'll show it to you. And it's not a flash in the pan warm up. Now, it's not warm because I don't say warm. Remember that. Because then you say, well, you said warm. I thought it'd be 70. Warming up, and we will go to some days, maybe half the days, being warmer than normal. Remember, right now the normal is very cold at 30, 31, 32 degrees. So I just kind of have to CYA is what I've learned in meteorology, because there's always somebody out there. So here's what's going on right now. The winter weather advisory officially goes to 1 p.m. in that purple shaded area for southwest, west central, lower Michigan. Should be dropped pretty soon. And then on the light blue you see is a cold weather advisory, and you know that already. Be advised, it's going to be cold. Now, I think the most important thing here to show you is the radar, and you can see the snow shifting out of the Ann Arbor and Detroit areas now, moving southeast. So in the next hour or two, the system snow, what there was of it, will be basically over with. And let's look at the radar forecast for that. So a couple of things have crept into the forecast, a couple of changes. The Saturday, I wrote yesterday that the weekend looks dry. Not so much now. Saturday night, a fast-moving Alberta clipper looks like it comes through and really doesn't do a whole lot. So this is this afternoon. Let me back up for you here. This is the Arctic front, 1, 2, 3. So a burst of snow showers, but an hour or less. We go into the evening, and then the lake effect starts to develop west of Traverse City. Looks like Frankfort. What else is out there? Frankfort, Benzonia, maybe down into Manistee and toward Cadillac and Thompsonville, something like that. Overnight tonight. This is tomorrow, and midday tomorrow should be dry. Then you'll notice this fast-moving little spurt of snow. This is the middle of the night, Saturday night. This is 1 a.m. Sunday, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Saturday night, a quick little few hours in any one spot type snow moves through the area. We're going to see those because the warm front is going to be kind of hanging back to our southwest, and this is a favored spot for those to ride. Here's the total snowfall off of that. So this is the snowfall for the rest of the day, and it's saying that, maybe there's an inch left in Ann Arbor, but I doubt it. Then we go into the lake effect tonight into early tomorrow morning, and note the west of Traverse City from Leelanau County, Northport maybe, to Leland, down through Benzie County, down toward Cadillac. There could be a 3 to 6 inch area of snow, relatively minimal. The rest of that is the snowfall that we've already had today. And then we look at what comes through on Saturday night, Sunday morning. And it's, this is advertising 1, 2, 3 inches. I would say it's probably more like a 1 or maybe 2 inch snow Saturday night, early Sunday morning. All right, let's move on. Now, I told you about one change in the forecast, and that change was, like I said, I thought we'd have a dry weekend with just a light flurry activity Saturday night or Sunday morning. That's upped a little bit. I've been talking about the next real storm about February 13th, 14th, 15th. Yesterday, I noticed that almost all the models killed that idea off. And I thought, it's one day, there could be some bad data anywhere on the globe, and it gets input to the models, and then as you forecast, something fluky disappears. It looked like that to me, but now today, it's also gone. So we may not have a moisture-laden system coming up late next week. We'll have to keep an eye on it, but that would be one change that I would pinpoint today. Hey, good morning, Keith McNell in East Jordan. Thanks for joining us. And good morning, Lawrence Kendarski. So we go through the weekend, and again, Saturday, sunshine, cold, bitterly cold. I'll show that to you in a minute. Here's Sunday, mostly dry. Here's the next Alberta Clipper. Remember, I told you they're going to come fast, but as the warmer air slips in, each one of them moves a little farther north. So this is Monday, and this is Tuesday. Tuesday all along has been looking like the first day that you might say, wow, I guess spring is going to happen at some point. This is Wednesday, still pretty quiet. The storm system looks broken up. Let me just show you. Here's a good example. We look at the change of change. Let's see, what do we got here? Let's go to Thursday morning, okay? And let me go back a couple of days. Let's go back to here and find Thursday morning again. And this is what it looked like. Okay, so significant change going on there. This is next Friday, and this is next Saturday, and Sunday, and Monday. And note that this model and all models want to continue to develop the storms out in the Dakotas. That will eventually pump warm air our way. Now, I'm going to show you high temperature forecasts, and remember, we don't believe them. We like to look at them out 8, 9, 10 days, but we don't believe it. But you'll see that because of this weather pattern forecast off of this model, you're going to see kind of a fun high temperature forecast. But the point is, in this kind of flow, there is no Arctic air, except for today, tomorrow, and Sunday. So these are the highs today. We still could make it above freezing in places. Then tomorrow, only in the teens for highs. And Sunday, our teens also. Monday, 20s northeast side, above freezing from Traverse City to maybe Alma, Lansing, south and west. Tuesday, into the 30s, Wednesday into the low 30s, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So not warm, but getting us back to pretty much normal. This is the 15th. Remember it showed a storm forming out west? Watch this. Hey, let's hope so. I don't know. And what I say, is something like that possible? Probably not that warm. But if you get a storm center to pull up to our west into western Wisconsin, warm front tries to make it through, you could be 40s and 50s. The problem is, remember, the Great Lakes. The warm fronts at this time of the year bog down at the south end of Lake Michigan, bog down at Lake Erie, and just put a halt on. So probably not happening, but the point is, the weather pattern is rearranging. Now, tomorrow morning, we start at 0, maybe below 0 for Onaway and Alpena and Mayo and stuff like that, and inland areas around Traverse City and the Thumb. Sunday morning cold also, and then, of course, as we head toward the 30s in the afternoon, our morning temperatures will come up into the teens and the 20s. And like I said, this is not a flash in the pan. Look at these 6 to 10 and 8 to 14 day forecasts from the National Weather Service. 6 to 10 day, February 11th to 15th, next week, warmer than normal. 8 to 14 day, the warmer than normal takes over the eastern 2/3 of the country. And you can see the pattern change in this, in that the west has been very warm compared to normal. Now it's going to flip to colder than normal, and that means the ridge builds in the east somewhat. One last thing here. Let me see. Where are we at? Let me get you the upper airflow, and I just want to give you an idea of the pattern change. Okay, so this is the upper airflow. Right now, down comes our little last lobe of the polar vortex over the weekend, mostly into the northeast, glancing below. Just remember this. Here's an easy way to look at this. You see blues and purples on the map. That we try to represent as colder upper air features. Watch where the blues and purples go. They disappear. Now this is Monday. This is Tuesday. This is Wednesday. Again, I like to trace back the contours, the black lines. That's basically where our flow is coming from. And you get to Thursday, you take those lines from Michigan and trace them back. They're coming in from Washington, not from the Arctic. Look at the February the 14th. Polar vortex is still up there, but it's up there where it's supposed to be. It will still send cold fronts through, like that one right there. But, you know, look at something like this. If a trough develops in the western part of the country and helps the ridge develop in the east, look at a flow like that, February 18th. Trace it from Michigan, you go back to Arizona and New Mexico, not the polar regions. And you go out to February 21st, still there. Let's see if we can grab, just bear with me real quickly, let's grab the European ensemble mode. Okay, now this means that it's, hey, good morning, Tony Crino. This means that it is 51 tweaks of the European average together. And so here's your ridging developing next week, and your polar vortex is gone. And let's go out to February 17th and 18th. And 19th. Now remember, everything looks watered down when you get way out there in the future, but February 18th, it's definitely got a trough out west, ridge and east. That will break down, and that's why my theory is that at some point in the second 2 weeks of February into at least early March, we get quite active with more moisture-laden storm systems, and that does mean that we will get into what I like to call March Madness in weather. So the main thing is, it looks like the Arctic air, the true Arctic air, is probably done. It probably will try to come back in early March, and that will represent highs in the 20s and 30s, and snow and sleet and freezing rain and all of that stuff that March brings with it. But the below zero weather, highs in the single digits, probably done after tomorrow and Sunday. There's your weather update, and if you got the spring fever, just remember, snow always melts, and there's one thing I can guarantee in weather is that the sunshine will always win out over old man winter. I don't know when. I don't know how long that will last before we get in the heat and humidity, but I can guarantee you that it will happen. If it doesn't happen, we got bigger problems than weather. Hey, have yourselves a great weekend. It's a quiet weekend. You're not going to see me. That's kind of a good thing. You know, like those folks that live in the southern states where the hurricanes are, they put up signs with no Jim Cantori from the Weather Channel, because he usually gets to pick the assignment of the most likely spot for the most interesting hurricane weather. So they're like, no Jim Cantori. Same thing here. No Mark Torregrossa on the weekend. That's a good thing. Take care. Have yourselves a great weekend. I'm MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa.